Outdoor service owners, rise and shine. It's time to start fueling your success one adventure at a time. Welcome to Outdoorsy Entrepreneur, brought to you by Big Tuna Websites, where business owners learn and explore ways to take charge and level up. Today, we're going behind the boots, talking with Tyler Tuttle of LawnWorks from Tennessee. I am your host, Kevin Fontaine. Join us on this journey every Wednesday. Like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel, and listen to wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on our social media platforms at Outdoorsy Boss. Hey, Tyler, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Kevin.
How's everything?
Good.
So just introduce yourself and your company and where you're operating from.
Okay. So my name is Tyler Tuttle, and I own LawnWorks, and we're located in Harrogate, Tennessee, which is probably not known to anybody, but more importantly, you might know where the Cumberland Gap is. So that's where Daniel Boone headed west. And so it's a small town, and the area is very rural. So we offer a lot of services just to stay busy, but we do lawn care, primarily landscaping. And then as of last year, we ventured into the landscape lighting and Christmas lighting.
Cool.
And we also offer French drains and some minor excavating stuff. So,
awesome. Yeah. And then it's been going on, 5 years now, or?
5 years total. And this is my third season alone. So I'm not co-owned.
Oh, okay. You started out as
years.
a co-ownership.
Yeah.
And tell us that journey. What happened with, you started out with a business partner?
Yeah. So I joined up with my wife's uncle, and he was originally LawnWorks. Okay. And so I just took his name because he was a little bit bigger. And it was just me and him, and we was mainly doing just lawn care.
Okay.
And we built it up enough to add an employee. Mm-hmm. And until he finished his schooling in nursing school. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I took over. And so currently I've got one full-time guy and several part-time guys. Most of them are in school themselves, so they'll come in the summer and help. And then one is a teacher, so he'll come in during this summer and help. So I've got 4 part-time guys that help. Okay.
And so are you out in the field full-time?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay. How many clients do you have routine mowing clients? How many do you think you have?
We have over 100 routine mowing clients that we do.
That's a lot.
And then landscaping, I have a few recurring that I maintain, but most of them are one-off landscape things. Okay.
And are you mowing every week or bi-weekly, or is it a mix of both? Or
a mix of both. I try to stay away from bi-weekly because of our area. It's not really, it's just too much. But I do have a few bi-weekly customers that we have. The latest I'll go is 10 days. And so that's 3 times a month usually. Okay. And I find that the 10-day yards actually keep us in business when we're in a drought, or even like this time of year when the weather's cooled off. I'll be able to mow them 3 times compared to the weekly guys who I only get 2 out of.
Yeah, I hear you. What kind of grass type do you have mainly?
Mainly fescue. Do have some Zoya and some Bermuda, but not a lot of Bermuda though. Right. There's very few that we do that has.
And what's your setup like now with truck and trailer equipment choices and stuff like that? What do you like to run for mowers? And
I like to run the Skag. So I've got 2 Turf Tigers, V-Ride, and a Tiger Cat too. Cool. So we've got 4 mowers. I'd like to run, my trailer is a 16-foot, so I can only fit the 2 mowers on there with a toolbox. I'd like to be able to run all 3, but I don't have many yards to justify using 3 mowers on. Okay. There's a few instances we could, but two is, I think we've got our crew as far as our setup nailed down pretty well. Okay, nice. Yeah, with 3 guys, it makes it nice because you can have a trim mower going, a large mower going, and then a guy trimming and all that stuff, edging. And ours range anywhere from a half an acre to, I think the biggest we mow is 6-point-something acres. Wow. So we got pretty large properties that justify 2 mowers on. Heck yeah. So what's your client mix? Is it mainly residential or? Yeah. Yes, mostly residential. I do have a few commercial, but Right now we're mostly residential. I like the residential better too because I think you create a relationship with your customers, whereas
Yeah.
commercial can be pretty cutthroat as far as that goes.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
find a cheaper bid and they'll go with the next guy.
Big time. And you'll find out that you're going to really hone your customer service skills a lot better when you get your feet wet first with residential, because they're demanding. They're there every day. They see what goes on in the yard every week. Whereas commercial, even HOAs, they're not as in tune to what the landscapers are doing every week. So a lot of times you'll have pile up issues that someone catches every couple months, and they say, hey, what the hell's going on here? And then by then they're already pissed off. So working with residential clients just helps you that much better as you start taking on HOAs and commercial. You'll be a lot more honed in to providing quicker customer service and opportunities there for being proactive yourself, right? Because that was my biggest jump was, okay, I got a bunch of clients now, and we're going there every week. I know what I'm doing, but how am I communicating that to my clients and what's coming up ahead, and how can I be more proactive with them so I don't always get that onslaught of, hey, when's this coming? Hey, what are you doing next? Hey, so that was that turning point for me to come up with ways to have better proactive systems in place where then I could start touching my clients before they even think about calling me about something. Right. So that was cool. All right. So how do you differentiate yourself, you think, from competitors?
I think, it'd be pretty generic, but I feel like we do our best, to the very best of our ability to make sure that we're doing a good job, and then also leaving the client's property better than when we found it. So, there's times where you'll roll up and there's been a windstorm or something, there's sticks in the yard. We'll pick those up without extra charge. Now, I mean, if it's a lot, then we'll say, hey, we were here a while. But otherwise, some of our commercial properties, we mow a church and like a local banks. There's 3 of them in our area that we mow all 3 of them. And they're on the highway, so they'll have trash, and we'll come in there and pick that up and make sure, so we try to just leave everything better than when we found it.
Right.
And so I feel like that has differentiated us between some of our competitors because I'm very particular about how I want things done. And so is my lead. So this year was my first year I tried out me going separate from my mowing crew and allowing my lead to mow while I took on more landscapes. So that's what I'm trying to do to grow, and trying to teach that to my guys, saying, hey, we got to do this and this and this, and trying to transfer that pickiness, I guess, from me to them has been hard to do. And this year I've had some quality issues as far as customers complaining about some of our guys. So, I think that's the tough part about it. Like me not being there. That's why I try to be out there with them to make sure everything's getting done correctly. So
right. So you're trying that transition mode out of the truck and see if you can get a isolated crew to run by your standards. So that's totally normal and ideal as you grow, getting those growth stages, especially those bigger revenue ticket items like landscape lighting and planting and spring cleanups. Man, you can make a lot of revenue that way, but it's a different beast all in itself because they're one-time jobs. So that's going to take your focus to get that started while you're straddling this recurring over here. So one thing we found that worked really well was to create an SOP around recurring maintenance. So basically I just sat myself down and wrote down bullet points of what do I do when I first get to a property, and it's spelling it out. It's so redundant, but you got to do it. And you say, okay, where do you park? What's the first thing you do before you step out of the truck? Is that logging into service software? Whatever it is, you got to spell it out like you're trying to teach a 10-year-old to do it, And basically you're just putting it all down there. And then once you have like this A to Z of what you're going to do at each property, generally, you then try to train that on someone in your group, and then they're going to give you feedback as well. So you may be entering more line items or editing line items from that point. And then we would insert pictures, video of how to stripe a yard, how you got to go around a tree and keep going and then come back and then work it out so it looks like you drove straight through the tree. Right. And, those things you're going to have to get a little more in depth with as well. And they could be separate SOPs. But that's the mindset you really need to think about as you try to transition yourself out,
My guys are really good mowers. They're as good as I am, or some, what my team lead likes to say, he's better than me, but I'm faster than him is what we'll give each other a hard time. But the quality of their mows are good, and they do a good job. It's the trimming and it's the cleanup afterwards. And that was where our quality was coming from. And we had a saying that everybody likes to mow, but nobody likes to weed eat. And that's true. Even homeowners don't like to weed eat their own property.
Right.
And but it has to be done. And so I try to. That was the issue we had this year as far as trying to grow. So hopefully, as we grow, continue to go next year, I've got some guys that's wanting to return. We can work that out. And I like that SOP idea. I've got like my own routine of how I trim a yard. So you maybe go around the outside edges and then come back and go around the house edges and then work your way around any obstacles in the yard.
You got it.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, we would always tell our groups, train them on, do a pre-walkthrough first before you fire up the equipment. And that way it's more calming. There's nothing noisy or anything yet. You're looking for, obstructions in the yard, dog crap, bringing in the garden hoses or whatever that's going to be in the way you might run over. Or if it's too wet, you'll be able to step in stuff. And, okay, Jimmy, you're going to have to string trim this area because it's too wet for the mower, yada, yada. So then you come up with a nice little game plan during that quick walkthrough. And then you start assigning roles for, okay, Jimmy, you go to the 52-inch. I'll grab this, and so grabs that. And eventually as well, we treated it as like a football team. We assigned equipment to specific people. So that way one guy wouldn't randomly grab the string trimmer one house and then just grab the mower on the next house. We wanted them to have specific roles as well, similar to a running back, quarterback, yada, yada. And that'll get people more and more efficient and better at those specific tasks quicker. But you're right. Detail work is tough to train in people because mowing guys, they typically just want to mow blow, head down. They're not looking for weeds over here or something else in that parameter. So it is something that you have to come up with in your SOP. And what we did, we assigned our foreman, who's the lead guy, and then his job was about 5 to 10 minutes before the complete cycle of normal duties are performed. He's going out, he puts his mower or whatever away, and he's going to do like a post walkthrough with like the Roundup sprayer on his back or whatever. Yeah. And so now he's looking at shrubs, weeds, and doing the detail work as the other people are finishing up that machinery work. And then they all choreograph back to the truck, and then boom. His, job is to like go in and out of the software, put in notes, take pictures, and do all that good stuff. So what about strategies you use to gain new customers?
I use Facebook ads a lot. I don't have the website, and most of our customers have come from word of mouth. And now Christmas lighting goes, I've been doing this year. I've been cold calling businesses, and my plan for once after Halloween hits, I'm going to send out messages to all my current mowing customers and landscape customers and see if they'd be interested in that service. Yes. And I've got some return customers, and then I've got some traction with a few businesses that are interested in them lighting, but it's been a lot of no's. So I guess that's the name of the game as far as cold calling goes. Maybe they're not interested right now this time of year.
But yeah, you're doing the right things there. Ask your clients that you have, to be a miniature salesperson for you in a sense. And what we used to do is give them referral rewards. So anybody they gave our name to and they signed up for something, they would get a discount on their next service. So it builds in some loyalty there and gives them incentive to talk about you somewhere else to other people. And a good thing too is like Constant Contact, MailChimp, and you build these playlists or group names. So like, oh, okay, here's all my mowing clients, and then here's my one-time spring cleanup clients. And some of them may be overlapping, but that's fine. And then you can do specific campaigns to those specific groups. So that helps too. And then so you're going to try to punch up some more landscape lighting and Christmas lighting holiday.
Right. I've actually, I had put a bid in on my biggest landscape lighting. It's only landscape lighting. So, they accepted my bid on it. So I'm going to start on it sometime this week. I've got to go pick up lights and stuff, maybe tomorrow.
Right.
And so I think it's a total of 28 lights.
Dang.
And so I feel like that's a pretty big one as far as, and I designed, I think I put my most recent design in on that landscape lighting app or group on Facebook.
Oh, cool.
And I told them to critique me, and they did. And so I've learned, and that's fine. And I've learned a lot from that. So I'm trying to get better at that and learning about my hot spots and how to, because you don't want, you want to create shadows too, but you also want to light up the house. And so it's kind of artistic as far as that goes, and trying to get better at that. So I think I designed it pretty well. I'm excited to do it.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'd love to see that. And walk us through like your typical day. What's that look like for you on a typical day? What are you doing?
If it's it just depends on what kind of day it is. If it's a mowing day, usually most of my guys live in the areas that we're going to be mowing in. So if I don't have them meet me somewhere, I'll pick them up. And then we go through our list. So I got each day, typically, I've got a pretty good like route for them or route for them. So we'll just go through there and hit them as efficient as we can. And we try to be done. I think one of our bigger days on Thursday, we're usually done. Even though it's a bigger day, we have the route so good or so dense that we can hit them pretty quick.
Yeah,
it's 8 to 3, 8 to 2, somewhere in there. So we're usually out pretty quick. As far as landscapes go, like this summer, I would send out the mowing crew and tell them what they're doing, and then I'd go get my landscape guys, and we would either go get materials, or if we already had the materials there, we'd go and get started on that.
How do you assign the routes for the maintenance crew? Are you using any software, or you just give them how do you deliver the addresses and the order that goes in?
Well, the crew lead was with me for 2 years, so he knows what each one is. And so initially, I think when we first started, when I was co-owning, we just had it wrote down. He had it wrote down on a piece of paper. And I was like, that's got to be a better way than this. So as being new to it, I just found an app called Todoist, and it allows me to put in recurring schedules. And the reason why I liked it over for one, because it was cheaper. Yeah. But I could set any kind of recurring schedule. I could set every 4 days. I could set every 6 days, whatever I wanted to. Right. And at the time, like Jobber, you could only set weekly or biweekly. So I couldn't set my 10-day customers. And so I'd asked tech support about that, and they said they would try to put that in. So I just ended up using Todoist, and that's what I've been using. Yeah. I know that Jobber has some nice features, and they've called me and talked to me about it, but I like my little system I've got.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we use House Call Pro, but there's all kinds of different ones out there. And certainly as you're getting started, you can even use Google. Google's got a ton of apps, and Microsoft even, to make reoccurring schedules for people, and just assign it to their phones, and then they get it on their phone and, hit that address and keep going. And that's the evolution too, as you grow and add more crews to recurring, if that's what you want to do. Those better field service softwares are going to help you keep that retention of profitability going, because you can put in budgeted times and then see what the actual time is, and then look at that once a week or every day and say, hey, what happened here at job A or B? Because you guys went over like 0.3 hours. What happened this week there? Because, recurring service, our margin's this. And we got to hit that margin every week to get the nice number at the end of the year, or the end of the season. So you got to be very structured and very detailed and bean counting on recurring.
Yeah.
And especially if they break glass or hit something or, do damage on a property, then the profit goes out the window. So,
and that's something that I feel like that I weak in is really, I know how to do the work, and I feel like I'm good at managing, but as far as like being business savvy, I'm still trying to learn these little tips and tricks there. And so there's a whole host of things that you could do to be better. And I think that's part of the stresses of this job too, along with trying to keep up with everything and keep that grind going. It's also continuing to better yourself and everything. So there's always something you can do to get better. And
every day, every week, just put in that 1% function of how am I going to make my business better this week? Even if it's like 1% of effort that you have, because it is a time constraint, big time, because you're straddling so many things, working in the truck, trying to go do a sales call, trying to do a landscape crew, catching phone calls from your crew, your clients. It can be very stressful and time demanding. So, when you have some off time, just spend that time working on your business, not in it. And what we like to do was create a budget once a year and list all the things we spend money on: gas, equipment, loans, truck loans, whatever it is, payroll, and then even, advertising. What new equipment do I want to buy next year? What field service software are we thinking about that would save us me time as a business owner? And then go ahead and forecast that into your budget. And then boom, that's going to funnel down to possibly most times a higher per hour price, because you're going to have indirect overhead and direct overhead. And then you're going to have your profitability line item. What do I want to make this year? 10% of net profit. So all that accumulates to, recouping a rate of a per hour rate. And then you may have to go up slightly next year on your clients. Certainly the new clients that come in, I would start bumping that rate every year, because you're going to need this, that, and the other that you didn't have last year as more of a recurring expense. So each year, how does that work? Are they month by month, or are they contracted, or?
No, none of them are contracted.
Okay.
They just pay monthly.
Okay.
I have them pay at the end of the month when we finish mowing. I know some people don't like that, we get burnt, but I've not had that happen to me yet. And so sometimes it gets confusing when you want to, and I don't do the credit card on file because everybody around here are leery of that. And I don't know why.
Right.
So at the end of the month, I'll bill them for what they owe, and I've not had anybody not pay me yet. So knock on wood.
I know. No, that's all fine and good. But if your objective is to get totally out of the recurring so you can start growing your business, and you may add another crew or two, you're going to want to definitely think about contracts, because it gives them one less reason to stop using you, because you're going to have verbiage in there that says, hey, you can't just drop me. There's a thing called amortization of a contract. So in other words, we're hot and heavy during the growing season, but we're going to take this and stretch it out into a 12-month agreement. So I get paid the same every month. It makes it easier on your wallet, so you're not paying hot and heavy prices in April, yada, yada. But it says, hey, you need to give me a 30 or 60-day cancellation. If we can't come to terms with a fix, give me a 30-day heads up so I can plan and get you replaced with, you're not telling them this, but The reason you want people to have a 30-day clause at least is to give you time to replace that customer so your revenue doesn't hit a shock. The thing about agreements that I love is that it gets people committed to you for 12 months. So you're going to have this learning curve of how can I sell someone who normally gets 8 months of service and then they're ghosts for 4 months. I don't see them or they don't pay me at all, right? You create value in your agreement by saying, hey, we're going to do a schedule of services. You know, you list every month how often you're going to come out in the agreement.
Yeah.
And you want to go there off season too, to blow leaves, to spray weeds. You may get into lawn care applications, fertilization, things like that as well, that you can do in dormant seasons, right? So you can come up with this whole schedule of events, and then it builds up your agreement to this more, okay, I see the value of getting into this and paying you 12 months at, the same price.
And then that could help me keep employees, because as of right now they're seasonal, part-time.
That's
and
right.
Then keep mine.
It gets you more, agreements. The more you can get into recurring service agreements, the more you're going to have this stability in cash flow and have forecasting abilities to say, hey, I can keep John for 20 hours a week over the winter. And then your goal is to build up that recurring revenue so big that, eventually they're full-time during the winter. And then you got brand loyalty all year round because you can afford it now.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool thing. And as you add more to the agreements, lawn care, fertilizations, pruning, you may add mulching, pine straw into that agreement. It can be this nice big ball of revenue now.
And it's prorated out 12 months included in the,
plants is a great revenue stream, especially during the fall and spring seasons when it's ideal time to plant. So, but you got to be very careful of your clause in what your warranty is going to be for the plants and what that process is like. So, in other words, do you give warranties for plants or?
I usually say, that I don't warranty plant, but I would replace it if I planted it and next week it's dead. Likely that could have been my fault. But outside of that, and the reason for that is I told a customer in the past that, I would warranty the plants. And we had, and it was I think this was 2 or 3 years ago. We had like an Arctic storm in northern Tennessee, and it was like negative degrees, and some of the plants were harmed in it, and he was wanting it replaced. And I ended up replacing them, but after that, no more.
I think the other huge benefit of a full field service software is that you can create these customizable templates for recurring service, for planting, for hardscapes, for each service that you provide, and it spits out a pre-done warranty spiel on that specific service, and it auto attaches that spiel. It talks about your plant warranty. It talks about acts of God. If we get a flood or an abnormal frost, whatever it is, that voids all warranty, and you're safeguarded that way. So definitely look into that, because you're just trying as a business owner to dummy down every step of your day so it's that much quicker, that much faster, that much better for your clients to understand and read all that verbiage. And then you're covered, so you don't have to get hit with that conversation, for one, because that's going to take 30 minutes to talk to Mrs. Smith about her dead pansies or forest red buds or whatever. So just think of all the steps it's going to take out of your future worries by building up these cool little pre-done. And hell, don't even worry about field service software. Just do pre-templates on a Word doc and then translate it into a PDF and put the number on it and have them emailed and have them sign it, read it. And so that's where we started, was just Word docs and PDFs, so they couldn't change the wording. And then we would have them initial each page because, you know, some pages are legal, some pages are quote, some pages
Right.
are what the service is going to entail. So it can be, especially your recurring contracts can be, you know, residential 3-4 pages, but our commercial contracts are a lot more wordy and detailed. And those damn things are 9-10 pages. So,
Yeah.
you know, think about it as you keep growing and expanding your company. And
I do like that. I have one HOA that I do, and I only do the common areas. I do the mulching spring and fall.
right.
I may try that with them, and then also the other commercial property. Maybe I'll just try it with those two and see how it goes. And then like you said, new customers. And I do like that idea a lot.
Heck yeah, man. Just keep grinding. You know, it's a great business to be in, lawn and landscape. I love it. Like we talked about, you're outside, you're working out in the nature. We're not
Right.
stuck behind a desk, and it's very informal, and it's just a really good business to get into.
I don't think I could. I would be very upset if I had to go back behind a desk after doing this for this long. Or going back to some kind of if you had to go back to a factory, or if I got a job in my degree field, which would be sitting inside all day, I wouldn't be happy with it. I don't think. And I think that there's a lot of things that I've done that has helped me in this industry as far as my degree in computer-aided drafting design. I can use landscape design softwares that are very similar to CAD, and I have experience with that. And working in the prison, I managed inmate crews and stuff. So I have managing experience. And then on top of that, stress, working under stressful conditions and dealing with that stress and managing that as well. So I think there's a lot of things I've done in my life beforehand that I didn't know was preparing me to do this and be in a field that I actually really enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to help you grow and do your own things as a small business owner. What's the revenue like each? Have you calculated what your annual revenue is?
Mowing brings in somewhere around 150,000, and then on top of that, I'd say landscape is probably that as well. So somewhere around 3.
Okay, nice.
Revenue.
That's good.
So
that's killer, man. Let's see. So do you have any future plans, future goals for the company?
Well, I try to set, and anything, I think anything you get into, I didn't realize this until I got into my own business, is there's area you can branch out. There's so many paths that you can take. And my goal was this year, or in the near future, was to add a second truck. That way I could do the landscape, and we was able to do that. And so I don't know what my next step as far as that goes. I guess it would be landscaping crew, have my landscape crew trained to where I'm going out doing estimates and telling them exactly what I need done. Right. My mowing crew was done okay. I need to train them a little better on quality. Have my landscape guys going out and chucking mulch or whatever they need to do. And I can be back here and managing marketing, and have a little bit of the bodily stress off me of not actually having to be out there physically doing it. I think my end goal in my mind, and that would be absolute retirement, I guess, goal, is I would like to have my own dealership as far as equipment goes. So mowers, trimmers and stuff like that. I think right now that's my goal, my ultimate goal working forward. But until then, I need to continue to grow my guys.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of us as outdoorsy entrepreneurs is to create the future we want, branch out and do anything. You have any advice for any aspiring entrepreneurs out there listening about getting into the lawn and landscape industry?
I guess it'd be to do your best to do a quality job, and then learn as much as you can as far as whether that's books, YouTube videos. Obviously we found out that my area to learn would be on the business side of it. but just never stop growing and learning how to get better at what you're doing and make sure you're doing a good job of it. Yeah. And if it's not something that you can do that in, then you need to find something that you love and that you want to make, that you want to do a good job at. Because if you're not just out there for the money, you're not going to, I don't feel like you provide as quality of a job as someone who actually is really enjoying that line of work.
Hell yeah. Well, that wraps up this episode, guys. Let us know in the comments any questions you have for Tyler on his journey or things you're thinking about to level up your own business. Make sure you subscribe to the Outdoorsy Entrepreneur YouTube channel and hit those notifications and listen to wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on our social media platforms at Outdoorsy Boss. We can't wait to see everybody in the next episode. Have a good one, guys.
See you guys.